I grew up thinking broken bones were for children. Kids climb trees, fall off bikes, jump from places they shouldn't. Adults don't break. They stiffen, they creak, they groan, but they don't break. At least that's what I believed all my life. I was 72 years old the day I learned that belief was a lie. A painful, irreversible lie. And now lying here in this hospital bed, with my hip held together by screws and plates, I can't stop thinking about all the warnings I ignored, all the signs I brushed aside, and how one careless moment took everything from me, not just my mobility, but the future I thought I still had. My story didn't start with the fall. It started a long time before that. Years before, when my doctor first mentioned bone density, I remember sitting in his office watching him scroll through my chart and hearing him say, "Marilyn, you're at risk for osteoporosis." I nodded politely as if he had told me the weather forecast. Risk meant possibility, not inevitability. Besides, I walked every day, I ate decently, I took my vitamins. I didn't feel fragile. I didn't feel weak. I felt alive, still cooking for my grandchildren, still gardening, still pushing myself to stay active. So when he suggested a bone density scan, I said, maybe next year. That was 10 years ago. Osteoporosis doesn't announce itself with pain. It doesn't throb like arthritis or burn like nerve damage. It weakens you, silently thinning you from the inside, turning strong beams into hollow shells. I didn't notice my bones changing, but I did notice other things, my height shrinking slightly, my posture curving, my back aching after long days. I thought all of that was simply part of aging. Women my age shrink, they stoop, they ache. It's normal. At least that's what I told myself whenever discomfort crept in. My daughter Lindsay worried more than I did. She'd watch me reach high shelves and wince. She'd see me rubbing my lower back after standing too long. "Mom, please get the scan," she'd say, "just to be safe." I'd smile and say, "Honey, I'm fine." Mothers say that a lot, "I'm fine." 2 words that hide a world of denial. I said it so often that even I believed it. The first real warning should have been the day I tried to lift a heavy box in the garage. It wasn't even that heavy, books mostly and old photo albums. I bent down, grabbed the sides and pulled. A sharp pain shot through my spine like someone had struck me with a lightning bolt. I dropped the box immediately and grabbed a shelf to steady myself. Lindsay drove over when I called, inspected my back, helped me lie down with heat packs. "Mom, this isn't normal," she kept saying. "Please get checked." But by the next morning the pain had faded, and with it my fear. I decided it was just a pulled muscle. I decided everything except the truth. What I didn't know was that I had probably fractured a small bone in my spine that day. One of those silent fractures the doctor had warned me about. When the pain faded, the damage remained. My posture worsened. My spine curved more. I chalked it up to aging once again. Then came the fall. It wasn't dramatic. I wasn't on a ladder or a step stool. I wasn't carrying anything heavy. I wasn't rushing. I was in my kitchen reaching for a cup on the top shelf. I stretched up, lost my balance slightly, took one tiny step back to catch myself, and my foot slid on a small puddle of water from the sink. My heel slipped. My arms flailed. And then gravity took me the way it takes anyone who isn't ready for it. I hit the floor with a sound I will never forget, the crack of bone breaking inside my own body. The pain was instant, sharp, paralyzing. I screamed, not because I chose to, but because pain ripped the breath from my lungs and forced it out in a sound I didn't recognize. My neighbor, bless her heart, heard the scream and rushed over. She found me on the tile, unable to move, my right leg twisted unnaturally. When she touched my shoulder and asked, "Marilyn, can you hear me?" all I could whisper was, "My hip. It's broken." At the hospital, everything moved quickly. X-rays, scans, questions I couldn't answer through gritted teeth. A doctor stood at my bedside and told me I had a severe hip fracture, one that would require surgery. He also told me something else, something worse. "Your bones are extremely weak," he said softly. This wasn't just a fall. This was osteoporosis. I felt shame before fear. Shame that I hadn't listened. Shame that I had brushed off every warning. Shame that I had treated my own health like a chore. I wanted to turn back time just a few years just to have one more chance to take that bone density scan, to start treatment to strengthen what was weakening. But the body doesn't give second chances. It gives warnings. And I ignored all of mine. The surgery was long. The recovery was longer. They inserted screws, plates, metal rods, whatever they needed to keep my hip together. When I woke up, the doctor explained the restrictions: no bending, no stretching, no twisting, no putting full weight on my leg. For weeks I needed help for everything: sitting, standing, bathing, dressing. I went from a woman who ran her household to someone who couldn't reach her own socks. Physical therapy was its own kind of torture. My muscles refused to cooperate. My balance betrayed me. Every step felt like navigating a minefield. The therapist would say encouraging things. "You're doing great. Just one more. You're stronger than you think." But I didn't feel strong. I felt broken in a way no surgery could fully repair. What no one tells you is how falls change your mind as much as your bones. I became afraid of my own house, afraid of rugs, of wet floors, of steps, of reaching too high or bending too low. I hesitated before every movement. The world suddenly felt full of invisible threats. My independence, something I'd always prided myself on, slipped away quietly. I hated needing help. I hated the pitying looks. I hated the way my daughters whispered about taking away my keys, maybe moving me into assisted living. But more than anything, I hated that I had done this to myself. One night, weeks after the surgery, I broke down in tears. Lindsay sat beside my hospital bed, brushing my hair back gently the way I used to do for her when she was little. Through shaky breaths, I said I should have listened. I should have taken it seriously. She held my hand tightly and whispered, "I just wanted you safe, Mom." That was what broke me, the realization that she'd been fighting for me all along while I fought against myself. Osteoporosis is treatable when caught early. That's what the doctors keep saying. With medication, calcium, vitamin D, weight-bearing exercise, and screening, my bones could have stayed strong. I could have prevented the fall. I could have kept my independence. I could have walked without fear. I could have avoided surgery pain and this bed that now feels like a cage. Now every morning I wake to the hum of hospital machines and a body that moves slower than my spirit wants it to. I watch nurses walk easily across the room and wonder if I'll ever move like that again. I see sunlight through the window and wonder how long it'll take before I can step outside without someone holding my arm. If someone were listening, some woman like me, in her 60s or 70s, brushing off back pain, ignoring height loss, telling herself she's just getting older, I'd tell her the truth. Aging doesn't break bones. Neglect does. Denial does. Putting off screenings does. Avoiding conversations about bone health does. One fall, just one fall, can steal everything. If I could go back, I'd get the scan the first time my doctor mentioned it. I'd take every pill he prescribed. I'd strengthen my bones like my life depended on it, because it did. I'd listen to my daughter's fear instead of my pride. I'd admit I wasn't invincible. I'd admit I needed help before help became mandatory. But I can't go back. I can only lie here feeling the ache in my hip and the weight of regret in my chest, hoping my story reaches someone before silence becomes their undoing. A fall doesn't just break bone. It breaks time. It breaks independence. It breaks everything you thought you had under control. Protect your bones while you still can, before a single step becomes the last normal moment you'll ever have.